What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to another edition of Chasing Cuffs, where we watch these stupid people doing the stupid things they do to get themselves arrested. We got a police chase for you out of LA. It's a good one. It's a truck. It's a guy running. I haven't seen it yet. What I did though is I learned my lesson. I fast forward to the end real quick just to make sure they show us the ending, and they do. So you're gonna enjoy this one. The original. Don't worry. Give him a like, give him a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. And also, do me a favor, repost this video, share it. Anything you can do to help out the channel, we appreciate it. So let's get started.
Right now, we're taking you out to a police chase in the Los Angeles area right now as this suspect continues on a wild police chase right now. And we are learning some reports there that the suspect could put other lives in danger by doing a carjacking as well during this pursuit here. And as you can see, these speeds are really going fast right now. Viewer discretion is advised here as these speeds, as you can see in the top right, are clicking above 100 at times. Their heavy traffic right now continues. We are going to see and wait and figure out how this all ends up right here on Live Now from Fox. But just wanted to bring this to your attention. We'll stay on it until the conclusion. Of course, we got you covered as always on Live Now from Fox Worldwide.
Just had to check on my little monster out there. All right, so he's doing 70. He's not going that fast. Northeast Anaheim. Was there going to be no audio? Do I get to do this whole thing all by myself? Hey, handsome. What's going on, monster? What's up, babies?
All right, we are getting some additional information right here for you on Live Now from Fox. As we are just getting this info.
You already had your morning treat.
So the suspect here allegedly carjacking a victim here and using a long gun as well. So this person is armed and heavily dangerous right now, and we are continuing to follow it for you all right here on Live Now from Fox as these Live Sky Fox aerials continue right now being played out here. You can see they're in Northwest Anaheim right now. This is in Orange County. And we're taking these live aerials right here for you on Live Now from Fox. Viewer discretion is advised as this suspect is very, very dangerous right now.
Hopefully there's something that we got to be advised about.
For everyone's safety as he has already carjacked somebody, and that is the truck that he is in right now. And he's not too far from Disneyland, as you can see here.
I'll be there in 2 weeks.
The Sky Fox visuals here.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
The Santa Ana Garden Grove
We're going to Disneyland.
Right now being played here. And we got you covered right here on Live Now from Fox, always bringing you the top news and, of course, breaking news when it happens here. And police are going to be taking this very carefully because the suspect is such a wild card. Already showed a weapon, already carjacked somebody, and now we continue to wait just how this is all going to unfold. Just moments ago, suspect was going more than 100 miles per hour. Had to slow down now because of the traffic here in this area. But staying now into this HOV lane right now, and we'll see what happens. So far, that's since we've been on it, has been all highway. And we'll see if the suspect gets off at an exit and then goes down those local roads, which we know can always pose a lot of danger to so many
harass me, aren't you?
That are just out and about on this Friday afternoon, just after 3:30 right there. And this suspect leading police on this chase right now in the Anaheim area and not too far from Disneyland right now. Sky Fox is able to pull out just a little bit more to kind of show us the traffic that the suspect is seeing in front of him right now. As you can see, the top right showing you the miles per hour that the suspect is going, and then we also have the location up there as well. That will be changing, of course, as the suspect weaves and continues on this interstate right now.
He's passing, looks like maybe a plumber,
and in just moments, we are going to
electrician.
toss it over to our Fox 11 team. They will be continuing to break this down right here on Live Now from Fox. Always, we got you covered right here. Give us a moment, and we'll bring it to you right here, live, raw, and unfiltered.
Nice. Dude, you know, do I have the, let me see. Do I have the closed caption turned on? That's why. Well, he's taking, what is he taking? I'm trying to think what the, he's definitely headed towards the beach.
And let those cars pass by. Joining the coverage now, we do have Christine Devine here in studio with me. Christine, this has been something else.
Really, Marla, you know, we get the
now.
call pursuit. We all kind of jump into action here. This has become so much more than a pursuit. We heard earlier about road
now
rage.
He's getting on the 5, I think.
So obviously, this person is in some kind of mindset of
crime.
He's
still on the 91.
You have this pursuit here going at these high rates of speeds when the freeway looks to be fairly open. If that driver wanted to get around these vehicles, look at these dangerous moves here to try to get around that unsuspecting vehicle. You have the speeds here at 95,
that's the
100
problem here.
miles.
Real quick. Cars like that is the fucking problem. They sit there and they're in the fast lane or they're in the carpool lane thinking, you know what? I got every right to be here. I deserve to be here, even though somebody's running up behind you. You know, no, you don't. You know, I was taught at a very young age that when you drive in the right lanes. The left lane is only to pass. But no, you know, especially here in California, we got these fucking idiots that'll sit there all goddamn day long in the left lane, right? And you know, I get a little road rage, you know, so I'll ride their ass, and I'm riding their ass. So I'll start flashing my lights and stuff like that, and I'll harass them for a little bit. And then if they don't move, I'll go around them, and then as I'm going by them, you know, you gotta flip them off, and you stuffed the motherfucker, you know, and then you know, it's my pleasure to do that to them, and I do it for y'all.
We're here, and to witness what we witnessed there with the gun, very frightening for law enforcement and for anybody else, like you said, Marla, out there on the road. Look at the speeds picking up here. 3:30 here in Southern California as we get into rush hour on a Friday night. We're going to have a lot more traffic, but right now, the speeds this driver's going at, signs that this is going to be...
Look at another idiot just sitting in the left-hand lane.
Yeah, right when you
I belong
came into
here.
the coverage here, you saw those speeds pick up 100 miles per hour. So
but why?
Yeah, exactly. And we are hearing, Christine, that this is certainly a multi-agency effort, which absolutely makes sense given the severity of the situation. We're hearing CHP, Corona, Ontario, all involved at this point.
See, look at this guy.
Including Riverside.
Look at this guy. He won't get out of the way.
Trying to weave in and out of these unsuspecting drivers on this Friday afternoon, this getaway Friday, as we aren't even to the 4 o'clock hour yet. These people just trying to mind their own business. They think that traffic is relatively light.
Look, another one.
The suspect is now on the shoulder, and yeah, you can see the result of those speeds, 110
He's going to pick up something that might cut up his tire over there.
So law enforcement has to be gathering together to find out what they're going to do about this pursuit. Oftentimes when they're dangerous or there are high speeds, we know them to back off to perhaps take the pressure off the suspect, hoping they'll bring it to an end. But when you have a gun and shots are fired, that is a whole different ballgame here.
Oh my gosh.
Hard to predict where this driver is trying to go at this hour and at these speeds.
Yeah, at what point, and I mentioned this, I'll mention it again because it was an interesting moment beyond the shots fired. But
zoom out for us a little bit so we can see his driving.
Stopped at a light, looked to the truck driver next to him, weaving in and out of traffic here live. It's hard to... okay, let me regroup. Stopped and asked the driver next to him, seemed to be asking for directions, Christine. So it was almost as if clearly this person doesn't know where, not familiar with these Orange County roadways. Still on the 91. That's been the case since we joined you about 10, 15 minutes ago. So on the 91, now on the right shoulder, doing what they can to stay out of custody. You see all the dust being picked up, given how fast that this driver is going. Again, this is a reckless driving hit-and-run suspect. This all started in the city of Chino. Here we are in the 91 westbound, now approaching the Donnie-Norwalk area. Speeds now in the 80s. We've seen them up to 110 plus miles per hour, Christine.
You know, we've seen so many pursuits that end in an accident. Is this driver getting off the freeway or getting onto a different freeway? All right, surface streets now. How does this pursuit play out the way this driver's been driving? I'm going to imagine this driver's going to blow through red lights and stop signs, endangering the public. You think at 3:30 now, kids could be out of school, walking on the sidewalk there, families walking, people unsuspecting. And look at the way he's straddling the lines there to get around cars. 55 miles per hour. Oh, the wrong way now. Now the wrong way. Very dangerous pursuit.
Artesia Boulevard and Bloomfield Avenue in Downey and Norwalk. Now we're up to the intersection where he's going to have to play Frogger with this pickup truck here.
That was a great game.
He manages to get across, so now we're on the right side of the road here. Again, Artesia Boulevard and Bloomfield Avenue in the Downey Norwalk area. Speeds in the 40s. But this is what we've seen pursuit suspects do time and time again. They make their way onto surface streets, then they find their way back on the freeway, whatever they can to stay out of custody.
Yeah, we think of places that they've tried to ditch the vehicle, perhaps going to an area that is you know, convenient for them, perhaps somebody they know, a family member, a relative, and even driving into areas that are comfortable for them. So does this driver know something about the Downey area? Why get off the freeway now?
Yeah, that's a good question. Joining our coverage right now, we want to bring in Joe Buscaino, former Los Angeles City Council and also police officer. You have plenty of experience, sir, when it comes to pursuits like this. You're obviously watching along. What do you make of this right here?
This driver knows something about the Downey area. Why get off the freeway now?
Are you talking about Joe Buscaino or Dennis Zine?
Oh, Dennis, I'm so sorry. I was told sorry about the mix-up.
I think we might have both of them, but let's go with Dennis because we hear Dennis loud and clear.
Dennis, we can hear you just fine. Go ahead. How dangerous is this, given what we know, that shots were fired and the speeds, and now we're on surface streets, Dennis?
Well, this is the type of pursuit that you can't terminate. You need to continue with this. The fact is, anyone who fires at a police officer, you don't know what they're going to do to the civilian population. So, obviously, it's very dangerous. There's a jeopardy anytime you get in pursuit. But when someone fires at a police officer, that's a situation that you have to do everything you can to terminate this as quickly as possible. This pursuit is obviously what we see happening by the driving is extremely dangerous. It's a hazard to everyone, but when they shoot at a police officer, they're extremely dangerous. So they have to continue with this, and oftentimes they'll terminate a pursuit. But in this particular case, they can't terminate a pursuit once a person fires at a police officer, because then anyone in the public arena is then subject to what this person's doing. And I'm sure you're going to find that they've got a criminal record and been through the system, but what we see is the helicopter overhead, multiple units. I'm sure they'll activate officers with the other weapons that they carry to take this into custody, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up in a crash and then there's a standoff with police. So there'll be a number of agencies that are involved in this as it goes through different jurisdictions, including the California Highway Patrol. So this is a highly dangerous, highly volatile situation, because once a person fires at an officer, then all the stakes are pulled out.
Right. We should let our viewers know, in case they are just joining us here, that this is no ordinary dangerous pursuit. Look at that driver there going in the lanes.
Is there really a dangerous
into the wrong direction there at those speeds there on surface streets, 100 miles per hour. You fear for every motorist out there on the street that this could end so badly. A school bus right there. You think of perhaps pedestrians there walking, but reminding our viewers that this driver turned around out his window and fired shots at authorities. So Dennis, if you're police, how do you even predict what to do on this one? Because we don't know where this guy's going to go. He was on the freeway, now surface streets.
Well, what you need to have is the air unit overhead, and the air unit will keep observation. The units have to close in as quickly as soon as possible and as close as possible, yet protect himself. And it wouldn't be surprised if this person just starts shooting indiscriminately at other motorists on the roadway. because at this particular situation with a driving pattern, as well as already firing at an officer, but they just don't care. And now you see a bicyclist on the roadway. So you got a motorcyclist, pedestrian, bicyclist. This is a 3:40 in the afternoon where it's a heavily populated area.
Wow, look at all these people in the crosswalk. It must be a school.
Look at all these kids.
It's
Christine
a school.
alluded to this not long ago. With given the time, schools just let out on a Friday
and the kids aren't going to
afternoon,
stop.
and we
the kids
have
are like,
all
fuck
of these
you.
innocent students, and this is so terrifying to watch. Thank goodness that this armed and dangerous suspect let those kids go by.
And you see law enforcement there now at the bottom of your screen.
But Christine, can you imagine for these kids to witness this right now?
Okay, why now? Okay, the driver now back taking off, but he had the decency to let those kids go by.
Goodness.
The decency to let them cross safely. We did see now law enforcement. So Dennis, we do know law enforcement is right there on his tail.
Yes, they will. They want to take him out as quickly as possible, terminate this pursuit. But you see the damage, the hazard, and now he has stopped. They're going to close in. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes off again. There he goes. This is not uncommon. They do the bait and switch, and he takes off again. So now the chase is on again. Fortunately, none of those children out there, but not only the children, but the people in cars and bicycles, everything. This is the most hazardous you can get involved in the pursuit. And we've seen many, many pursuits. We broadcast them all the time. This type of situation with a populated area at this time of the afternoon, many, many people out this Friday afternoon, extremely, extremely hazardous and dangerous. And it wouldn't surprise me if he got in a crash along the way and just kept on going or got out and started shooting at people. This is very, very extremely the highest dangerous you can find. Anytime you fire at an officer, you've got high danger. And this is going to continue with his driving pattern. As reckless as he's continuing, or she.
Dennis, on the wrong side of the road right now. Dennis, I'm sorry to jump in, but you have just a little bit of a delay, so we're just a little bit ahead of you. So what you'll see in just a moment is what we're witnessing now live, and that this driver is on the wrong side of South Street and Bellflower Boulevard in Long Beach, the Lakewood area.
In Long
Fortunately,
Beach.
getting through without causing a crash to innocent, unsuspecting drivers. And yes, thank goodness he had the common decency to let those students cross after getting out of school on this Friday afternoon. Christine, pulling into looks like some sort of a shopping parking lot here.
Hard to tell. Back on Surface Street.
Back on Surface Street.
You know, Marla, too, I'm so concerned that this heavy truck here could cause so much damage to another motorist, another vehicle, obviously to a pedestrian. We do know that this is a reported carjacking suspect. So when that suspect was on the wrong street, on the wrong side of the street with those other cars, you worried could they get out and jump in somebody else's car? That's another fear, Dennis.
I would not put anything past this individual. I'm sure if they check the record, been to prison, been arrested multiple times, this is a fleeing person who's obviously been through the criminal justice system, doesn't want to go through it again, and everybody's in jeopardy. The students, the motorists, everyone in the public arena in this particular community is in jeopardy because of this trying to escape. And they're not going to escape because they're going to have enough resources on this. It'll end eventually, and hopefully an innocent person won't be injured. And hopefully there won't be a shootout at the end. If he has a weapon, he's already fired.
Wow.
You can suspect he might get out to fire again at the police officers on higher patrol that are chasing. They're not going to give this one. This one they're going to have to apprehend. And we don't terminate the pursuit if you have deadly force involved.
Dennis, this is right near a school. That school, by the way, was Mayfair High School earlier with those students being let out. We're still in that school zone area, speeds picking up. We are confirming from CHP that this is also a possible carjacking suspect, hit and run suspect, reckless driving suspect, all sorts of charges against this person. Now seems to be going down an alleyway near some maybe apartment buildings and housing as well.
Wait, is this person going to maybe bail? Is this person trying to think that they've... Nope, I guess not. We have Stu Mandel.
That was kind of weird.
Stu Mandel overhead. So Dennis Zine, if you could stand by for a minute. Stu Mandel is going to join us. Stu has flown for us in Skyfox. That's what he does on Good Day LA, so he knows these streets very well. Stu, as we're watching this here, this driver's staying in Lakewood and Downey area. Not a lot of freeways really close to Lakewood.
You know, I've been watching, and I got to tell you, first of all, I'm on a little bit of a delay. So I just saw him stop or slow down in that one alleyway, and it almost looked like there may have been a shot fired. I was listening to Dennis earlier on, too, and a lot of times, you know, now we're hearing all this other information about this driver, and you're finding out that this is a carjacking suspect. He's actually stopped and shot at officers. You know, a lot of times we've heard this term. We haven't heard it in a while, but suicide by cop. Clearly, this person has a mission, and that mission clearly isn't to stay alive or to end in some kind of peaceful way.
How do you know that?
On the
Come
wrong
on.
side of the road. When we saw him at that school, of course, every eye was panicked, but you saw at least he had this attitude of, you know, I'm going to stop for a little bit. Just something that I saw, and I got to remember, I'm on a little bit of a delay watching this. There's a lot of smoke coming out of that front brake. That truck is a big truck, and that thing weighs a lot. And yes, of course, it's a newer vehicle, but all this hard on the brakes, hard on the gas, that's going to start really wearing on that vehicle. Now, so you got to worry about vehicle wear. You got to worry about that driver. He's, you know, obviously he's amped up. Maybe it is just adrenaline, but eventually you're going to start getting tired. And you know, he's looking out that window. I can tell you, probably not trained as a high-speed driver. And, you know, that just makes it, as long as this goes on, it just gets worse and worse and worse. The numbers or the percentage that this is going to end poorly hurting a civilian or some just innocent bystander, those numbers keep going up. The driving through that center divider and on the freeway, my favorite thing is that, you know, if it was me driving there, I'd have a nail in a minute. Hopefully he picked up something, might start, you know, ruining a tire. But right now, on these surface streets, wrong side of the road, going through these intersections where other people are making left turns, I worry about everybody else. I worry about the people that are driving. You think about your loved ones, you know, driving along the road. All of a sudden, this maniac in a full-size pickup truck, you know, barrels down the wrong side of the road or cuts them off. You just don't want to see anybody get hurt. In this case, though, you want to see this come to an end. And, you know, there's some kind of misnomer that the officers are not following. You clearly saw they are. Maybe they're backing off just a little bit. 100 miles an hour on a city street is not a chance. That's just not going to happen. But that helicopter overhead, those officers are nearby.
Yeah.
Just want this vehicle to stop. Just want this vehicle to stop and nobody to get hurt.
Well, reminding our viewers that this suspect did turn out his window, if it is he, I'm saying he, and fired shots with a gun out the window of the vehicle. So officers have to take that into account. So many pursuits, we see police right there, perhaps on their tail, like, you know, just within the shot, but perhaps they're keeping their distance for that reason as well.
Definitely, and you know that's the whole thing. This person stopped and shot at officers. What do you think the response is going to be? Of course, the officers are going to make an effort to take this person into custody and without you know, having some sort of shooting at the end. But the fact of the matter is, this person has already shot at officers. And that just kind of, you know, Dennis was bringing up early on, changes the entire, you know, the entire landscape of the pursuit. These officers, they want to bring this thing to an end. Of course, they're worried about the public. The odds that this person might shoot at civilians, you know, of course, there's always that, you know, that possibility depending upon what happens. Right now, this crazy reckless driving, 100 miles an hour on Bellflower, it's, you know, it's unthinkable. And now to have somebody that's clearly has some sort of agenda or issue, you know, thank goodness he's making his way onto the freeway. Like I said, I've got a 7-second delay, but we're seeing him make his way back onto the freeway. At least there's no more intersections to deal with, but still, if he gets into traffic, if he gets blocked in, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, Stu, we've witnessed him going upwards of 110 miles per hour on the freeway. So that could very well happen again as traffic is relatively light. For now, anyway, we see this is right near Long Beach Airport, the airport area there. And we did also hear, to your point, your observation, Stu, that when this driver stopped in that alleyway, that he indeed did fire off some more shots. Again, we don't know if anybody has been hurt, Stu. As we talk about this, though, we can tell you that there are Corona PD units behind this person. There are also plenty of airships up there as well, because that's the way to track this very armed, very dangerous and armed suspect. Stu, when we talk talk about bringing this to a conclusion, though, I mean, we often talk about spike strips and pit maneuvers, but neither of those strategies seem like they would work right now, or if they even be feasible to do.
You know, I've brought this up many times in the past, and to be a law enforcement officer, especially in a pursuit type of situation, there are so many protocols, there's so many variables, and again, it's a lot of times the officers' hands are tied because they have to worry about safety. They have to worry about nobody getting injured. Even that suspect, they're not going to try to do something that's going to blatantly, injure even a suspect that has fired at officers. So there's all that. So there's all these variables in there for the officer to act accordingly. And then, of course, spike strips, not a chance. Pit maneuver, there is a possibility, even at a higher speed like that. But the fact of the matter is that, they're not going to do it at 100 miles an hour. You can see some law enforcement right behind that vehicle right there, and that is what I was trying to bring out earlier. Just because this vehicle is going at 100 miles an hour and we don't see the police in the shot with Skyfox doesn't mean they're not chasing them. They are there, and they are not going to let this guy go.
Yeah, let me jump in here, Stu.
How this is going to come to an end. There's always that possibility runs out of fuel. That you were really just grasping at straws with that. The chances are
he just doesn't want to shut up.
Situation, maybe not in an intersection, please not in an intersection, and not slamming into some innocent driver. Maybe he'll get stuck on a curve or something like that, or I will go out because of the hard driving or poor driving. But right now, this is just going, and the more it goes, the higher the opportunity, the higher the chances are going to be that somebody's going to get hurt. And nobody wants to see that. And this suspect clearly shooting at officers, and then that weird random spot that kind of it makes you kind of wonder whose home that is. That this vehicle just randomly stops and shoots out the window. It was just really bizarre to see. It does definitely seem like there was some sort of report, or you saw a flash. So you got to wonder what was going on. And continuing there on the streets, maybe that suspect is looking out the window and realizes, hey, while I'm on the streets,
Stu, we have that video. In fact,
that might be part of it, but he's got to know that helicopters above.
He's just ignoring her.
Nearby.
He's like, I want my TV time.
After shooting at officers,
Stu,
what do you think is going to happen as a suspect? It just makes you kind of wonder if this
just
person
mute him.
All
you got to do is mute him.
And just hope it's just going to, if it happens, and hopefully it doesn't, it'll just be the driver of that pickup.
All right, Stu. Well, Christine, I do believe that we have video. He was just referring to the moment that he opened fire on officers when he stopped. It was about 20 minutes ago. Oh, this is the alleyway. So it's still hard to get. We're zooming in.
Oh yeah, you saw
apparently there were shots fired
there.
right there. This happened about 5-10 minutes ago in an alleyway. And this is again in the Long Beach Lakewood area, not far from the airport. We're going to show that again, and now we're back live here on our bigger picture, Cherry Avenue and East Pacific Coast Highway in the Poly High district, to be very, very specific, according to our extreme nav. The driver just weaving in and out of traffic, trying to stay out of custody. It was only on northbound 405 for maybe a mile and a half maybe before getting back onto surface streets. We've seen for a large part of this now more so on surface streets than we have on freeways. Very dangerous, speeds upwards of well beyond 100 miles per hour at times. And then at one point, to use exactly what you said, Christine, at least this armed suspect had the decency to stop when there were dozens of school kids trying to cross the street. And he did let them cross the street safely, thank goodness.
So we are, again, watching this pursuit on these surface streets. And Marla, we've talked before about suspects going to areas that might be more familiar to them. And you noted that suspect got on the freeway. Wrong direction again here. Very scary for that motorist, unsuspecting. Got on the freeway for a short point of time after being in the Downey and Lakewood area for a little while, and now is in the Long Beach area after getting on the freeway for just a minute. I'm wondering if this driver is a little more comfortable in this Downey, Long Beach area.
Yeah, and that's interesting to note. Also interesting
is
that
he just
this
shot
was picked
again.
up in Chino, in the city of
Or
Chino.
they shoot at him.
Chino PD picked this up, picking up speeds here. Suddenly, it's almost like a cat and mouse, which we've seen
Did he shoot
many
out the
times.
window?
Speeds
or
up
did somebody
to
shoot
70
at him?
miles per hour blowing through that intersection. Got a green light on that one, thank goodness. And Chino PD, then we have Ontario, we have Riverside, we have Anaheim. It is a multi-agency effort given the severity, the extreme behavior of this reckless driving suspect, hit and run suspect, and also carjacking suspect. So apparently carjacked somebody.
And Marla, our team is saying they just saw shots seconds ago out the window again. So that would be the third time.
You didn't notice that?
Those shots were being shot at the vehicle opposed to coming from the vehicle. Maybe there was an officer nearby there. I'm trying to look right now at the side of the truck, and maybe you guys have a better vantage point, but the windows didn't go down, and there was clearly what it looked like to be two shots.
Right.
Yeah, hard to tell on that one. The speeds here, so scary on these surface streets as we are getting closer to rush hour traffic. Reminder of kids being out of school. You know, I am surprised that this driver hasn't got on different freeways. And again, I get back to the idea that perhaps this is an area in which they feel comfortable. As we are looking at this, we want to remind you that the driver did come upon kids walking in the crosswalk, a lot of them, which makes me think they were probably near a school, perhaps getting out of school, very close. Let's go ahead and show you that video where the driver, as you noted, Marla, my comment, where the driver had the decency to let the kids cross the crosswalk. Look at the group of students there.
Who cares about that?
Screen. All of those kids, all of those young people in this crosswalk, the driver there, at least allowing them to pass. And then there's more there to the left. So the driver stops, and they are completely unsuspecting. You see them kind of jog ahead to get out of the way. Law enforcement now seen in the picture, guessing these kids might grasp that there's something going on with all that police, all that law enforcement right there behind the driver. The driver's still pausing there. Very scary. Remember, this driver had fired at officers in the past. So what is the driver going to do? Takes off. And the pursuit was back on.
And here
Thank
we are.
you for putting the
this
live
is
one
just
back
west
up in
of
the big screen.
710 here, and speeds 50 miles per hour. This is PCH. Now, so many officers involved in this, as I was saying, just given the severity of it, as this suspect is known to be armed, already have fired at officers. Fired just seemingly randomly out a window in an alleyway. So fired at authorities, speeds now upwards of 80 miles per hour. And Dennis Zine, we want to bring you back into the conversation. How do you bring this to an end? I asked Stu that. I'm going to ask you. You used to do this for a living. How do you bring this to an end?
Well, I still serve with the LAPD as a reserve officer, so I've been involved in situations, not this degree, but I've been involved in many pursuits. You want to, number one, safeguard the public. That's the key. You don't want to jeopardize the public. This individual, and I think there were 2 shots fired through the windshield just a few moments ago when we saw that smoke coming out. I think
at the windshield. Well, it had to go out.
Shots fired out of the front.
The way we saw it.
What you do is you use the resources that you've got. I would think by now they'd activate members of the SWAT team that could be responded if we have a standoff at the end. Once this vehicle crashes or comes to an end, we need to have that type of deployment. But when you got multiple agencies, and that's the situation. They're on different frequencies if they can get on the same frequency, but you've got multiple agencies all involved in this. You got a highly hazardous situation. You've got already shots fired. You got the crimes that's occurred. So someone's going to have to take control to be the lead agency and to control the situation, because what you'll have, and we saw a situation where you had like 50 police cars in pursuit. That individual who shot at the deputy sheriff, he was shot at the end. But the fact of the matter is, with this kind of situation, it's very mobile. Again, many agencies, many different disciplines involved, and all the officers want to do is bring this to an end and safeguard the public. That's the key. Now, we don't see vehicles right behind, but there are vehicles in this pursuit. We got the air units overhead. This will go on until he either crashes or decides to have a shootout. And it wouldn't surprise me if he were to get out and start shooting maybe innocent people, because what does he have to lose now? He's already committed these crimes, and that's the hazard of all these people in this vicinity. at this time of the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're all in jeopardy. So the school kids that we saw crossing the street, the people and the pedestrians, the motorists, etc., everybody's in jeopardy in this particular area on Pacific Coast Highway in the Wilmington area. So with the multiple agencies, the multiple commands, there's a lot that's taking place right now. But every officer who's involved in this wants to bring this to an end and safeguard the public. And this individual crashes. Who knows what's going to happen when he gets out? If he's got a weapon, we don't know what type of weapon. There's all kinds of circumstances that can take place. We've seen many, many pursuits. We broadcast this type of situation and goes over the top of all of them. This is absolutely a most horrendous situation for the general public, as well as the officers that are chasing, and they will chase as long as they can, and they will continue. They're not going to surrender. This is not the kind of situation you surrender. They're going to have to take every action to bring this person into custody, and hopefully the criminal justice system will be able to deal with it. But the concern is we don't want to get people hurt in the process. He hasn't had any collisions to this point. We know he's driving alongside the street, he's going through red lights, etc. And it's just a matter of time until he runs out of gas, which I don't think that's going to happen, or they ram him or something to bring this to an end. I don't see spikes being employed in a situation like this anyway.
Well, Dennis, I was going to ask you about that because the driver's been on PCH for a minute, coming from Long Beach now to Wilmington, and apparently staying on PCH heading towards Lomita. But that's a wide open street there, wide open stretch there. And then also as we come upon more traffic in PCH, as we get towards Rolling Hills Estates and Torrance and towards the beach, if he stays on the Pacific Coast Highway, there might be a lot more traffic. Can you get ahead of him, do you think, if he stays on PCH?
Well, they could get ahead of him, but they don't want to get ahead. They want to stay behind. He's going to have, we know he's armed, we know he has a weapon, so they don't want to get in front of it. They don't want to get in front of it.
But you know, agencies in those cities where he's heading, if he stays on PCH, he's heading towards those other locations. They're getting a heads up.
Well, they're all aware. All the agencies are aware of what's going on with it. I mean, every TV station in Los Angeles is broadcasting this, so they're all aware of what the pursuit is, where it's tending next. But the agencies, they keep transferring to just different jurisdictions. There was the lead agency when it started, and many agencies since then. But as they get into the city of Los Angeles, then LAPD, and they may have SWAT teams set up along the way. They may have a roadblock set up. We normally don't use roadblocks. With a situation like this, they may do that because this is highly unusual. They're going to have to use some extraordinary means to take this person into custody and to safeguard the public. That's the key. You don't want innocent people injured. You don't want to injure the officers. And the suspect, if he decides to have a shootout, well, so
there's something heavy in the back.
You'll have a lot of officers there.
You notice that? Either he's got a flat tire in the back or there's something heavy in the bed.
Successful conclusion of this pursuit.
And it almost looks like, look,
is open again.
It looks like there's something in the bed, doesn't it? It's a black tarp or something.
Window is open. You can see the driver. Looks like he's wearing a baseball cap of some sort, straddling that line there. But we've also had concerns because he's fired shots when that window was open.
In fact, Dennis, we do have that. We want to show our viewers that moment here when those shots were fired. See the shots fired right there? This was near the Long Beach area on
that
PCH.
The front window? That looked like he busted the front window, though, right?
Here, when those shots were fired.
See, they're fired right there from the window. So he busted his window
right
open.
There. This was near the Long Beach area on PCH. So that did happen. And now we're back live full here. And yes, Christine, earlier the window was down. We got a very good look at this suspect. I believe he had a goatee, hat, baseball cap backward. He rolled down his window, asked the driver next to him, another man in a truck, seemingly asked for directions. Now we're coming up onto a shopping center, pulling into a parking lot, which is always dangerous given the pedestrians who could be here. This is in Harbor City. You made the point that all agencies, are in the shopping center.
Wow.
Fortunately, is...
Why is he stopping right there? That's stupid. It gives him a chance to block him in.
He could take a civilian into custody, try to take a civilian and basically kidnap someone to protect himself.
No, there is something in the bed of that truck.
Now,
it looks like maybe. I don't know.
Anything and everything is possible.
Hard to tell.
And as Stu knows from flying overhead, he sees this all the time, but not to this degree. This is highly, highly unusual. And everyone around there has been subject to becoming a victim of this individual or a hostage of this individual.
Yeah, when you saw that driver pull into that strip mall shopping center, you have a whole new worry that the person, like you said, could kidnap someone, could carjack someone else, could shoot someone. You know, what kind of erratic mind are we dealing with here? You know, you see people right there in their backyard, having no idea perhaps what they're looking at there. Dennis, this has a whole lot of unpredictability here.
It's totally unpredictable, and you see the erratic driving, and then slows and stops and does this and does that. Maybe they don't know what they're doing.
Strange.
Maybe they're the influence, whatever the case may be. Anytime they fire a weapon, and we've seen that happen, the officers use extreme caution. But they want to get this. They want to stop this as quickly as possible. It's going on way too long. But they don't have some kind of magic solution where they can put up a barricade in front because they don't know which way he's going to go. We know that
what's he doing there?
Crime. We know that he's fired a weapon. We know that he's fired more than once.
He's stopping here. He seems to be talking to somebody. I know you're on the 7 seconds behind. You'll see us. You'll see just now the window's fully down, it looks like, or 3/4 of the way down. Seem to be talking to somebody there on 252nd Street and Petroleum Avenue in Harbor City. LAPD, of course, now has been made aware. To Dennis's point, everybody's on this. All agencies, all hands on deck, given this armed and dangerous suspect here on surface streets, slowing down, thank goodness, given just how tight these streets are. There's not a lot of room. We see another airship below. Dennis, your reaction as we're seeing him seem to just slow down and take a beat.
Everybody's on this.
Well, he's trying to figure out what he's going to do next. I mean, he's driving around. He has probably no idea. He's noticed the windshield. It looks like there's been bullet holes or something that's gone through the windshield.
Yeah, dumbass. That's when he shot out.
Maybe the dashboard. But he doesn't know where he's going. He's just trying to find a way to escape. And now he's in a residential neighborhood where you have a lot of people, a lot of narrow streets. It just gets more and more dangerous as this continues. More dangerous for the public, dangerous for the officers. And they want to take it into custody, but he's in a very narrow area right now, surrounded by residents and surrounded by people in those residents. It's very dangerous for everyone, the police officers, the community, everyone that's encountering this.
Somebody in a wheelchair.
Oh my gosh.
Dennis, you are so right. This is increasingly
he's on the brakes pretty hard right
the
there.
Driver stopping. Is there traffic in the way? Is there a person in the way?
Well,
you
cameras
saw somebody
zoom out.
in a wheelchair crossing the street, and now these crazy speeds again.
Oh my gosh.
Erratic, crazy speeds.
Probably on drugs.
Why this person got off PCH, we have no idea. Are they trying to circle back to a different neighborhood? Dennis, do you get a feel that this driver knows the area at all, or just driving randomly?
I don't think they know the area. They're just in and out, major area, residential, community, business area. They're just wandering to try and get away. And with the chopper overhead, I don't know how high or low that chopper is. There's no way they're going to let this person go. And there's probably multiple choppers. And Stu knows when they communicate, they all communicate back and forth.
Oh, we're seeing a black and white now. Sorry to interrupt, but we are finally seeing a black and white gaining on the suspect in this residential area. This is President Avenue and 257th Street, now PCH, in Harbor City. We haven't seen an officer this close behind stopping. It's that cat and mouse. What do you make of that behavior when you see somebody armed and dangerous and then sort of playing with authorities, Dennis?
Well, this is very, very unusual. I've been involved in many pursuits, none like this. And as we see more and more of these situations taking place, but in the middle of the afternoon, the school's out, people are out, walking around. This isn't like 4 o'clock in the morning. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, almost 4:10. So it's extremely dangerous for that community. Everyone in that community, if they're watching, stay in your home, lock your doors, and secure yourself, because it wouldn't surprise me if he abandons the car and then tries to break into a residence, and then we got more problems, and we have a standoff. But fortunately, the officers behind him, and they need to stay close behind, because if he bails from that car, they need to apprehend him as quickly as possible. And here, a residential area, who knows what home he's going to break into, and then we've got a hostage situation. So this just compounds more and more the hazards and what the officers have to do to bring this to an end, a final end, and it doesn't look like it's going to end shortly.
Yeah, you know, no regard for human life, no regard for other people, children, somebody in a wheelchair.
Oh, he just hit a cop car.
Police car.
Into the pole.
Into the pole, Dennis. You're going to see this. So he's
in bail. He's okay.
He's out.
Suspect.
And
he's running.
He's running.
Not very
Remember,
fast.
he had a weapon. Does he have the weapon with him, or did he not get the weapon as he hit that pole there? Suspect
Not
is
running very fast.
Lock your doors, everyone.
He's trying to steal cars.
He's trying to carjack other people.
Oh, please.
Hoping everybody has their doors locked as this suspect is making a run for it. Not overly fast.
Oh, they got him. They got him.
Police right there.
Oh,
wow.
They got him.
They got him.
Yeah, Dennis.
Oh, they're punching him. Did you see that? He's punching him.
With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a dozen officers at this point, and they are getting this suspect into handcuffs just as soon as humanly possible.
Oh my God!
Yes,
yeah.
This is the most unusual I've seen.
You're, as we were reminding you, you're just a little bit behind as you're seeing this. Remember, he had a gun. He had a gun. Yeah. Are they making sure his hands are free? You see a lot of officers there.
There's enough officers. They're going to cuff him real quick. They're going to take him into custody. He's obviously struggling with the officers, so don't think they're beating the individual. He's struggling. He doesn't want to surrender, and they're trying to put the handcuffs on him, trying to get his hands behind him. And they're on top of him, and he may have a gun in his waistband, he may have a gun in his pocket, but what they want to do now is handcuff this individual, get him into custody, and he's obviously resisting because that's why there's so many people on top of him to get the handcuffs on him. And I think they're deputy sheriffs by the uniform. It looks like they're deputy sheriffs that are in custody, along with the officers in the dark uniforms from the local jurisdictions.
Well, he really is resisting there.
It's come to an end, and innocent people haven't gotten hurt, and he's into custody, and they're still trying to look at how long it's taken to put the handcuffs on him with all those officers.
I'm telling you, the dude's on drugs. He's got to be on drugs.
And again, reminding our viewers that you're a few seconds behind, so it doesn't seem that they have successfully cuffed him, looking like they're trying to subdue him still. We can't get a good look at the suspect, Christine.
It looks like they were able to restrain his feet and his legs there, which is so important because, Dennis, you know, I've done those simulation villages where a suspect had a gun or a knife in their sock or the bottom of their shoe. So they got to really restrain this guy and make sure he has no access to anything that he might be hiding on his body. And we know he's fired at officers and fired out of his vehicle more than once. They got to make sure there's no gun on that person.
Exactly, and that what they're doing. They got to search to make sure that no gun in his waistband or pocket, and that's why they're going to do the tie of the legs and the handcuffs and make sure, and that's why they're on top before they let him up. They want to make sure that if there is the gun, if it's not on him or it's in the car, they'll be searching the car if they haven't already started that. Because you have an army of officers there, but you saw what it took to put this person into custody. When he got in the crash, that's when the termination of the pursuit is when he crashed into that pole.
Got him hogtied. They're carrying his ass.
You'll see he's now being carried by 3 deputy officers to a vehicle to be taken away, but literally carried. One's got his feet, and you're getting a little bit better look at him.
Well, here's my question. Do you think perhaps the driver here is on some kind of drugs?
Very well could be. Very well
Possibly.
It wouldn't surprise me.
All right, that's it. That's it, it looks like.
But they don't want him walking because they have...
All right, that was a fun one. What do you guys think? Not too bad. Oh, look at it's only 6 minutes, though. We got to do longer ones. Anyway, this voice fire sure stop chase. Thank you for watching with us. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel for another edition of Chase and Cuffs, where we like watching these cool stuff. All right, guys, don't forget that like, share, subscribe button. I'd appreciate it.